in the bracket, so these matches not as big of a deal, as we're gonna make sure we get all of the good juicy coverage on the later stages. And so of course with that first round bye was between Morse Force and Just Purple. So Just Purple is gonna get the bye and move on to face TNC, who are one of the monster teams of this tournament and definitely an expected favorite to win. So going into that, I do know on Just Purple there's a player and captain named Phantom Puppy who hangs out in the stream a lot, and he's a guy I get to talk to a good bit. So definitely I'd love to see them do well today and put up a good fight versus TNC. What do you expect for today's outcome?
I think if you look at the bracket as a whole, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to think that Vox and Hilly on the top side of the bracket will get through, and
Right.
TNC on our side of the bracket. The rest of the field is a mix of some really good amateur teams and some unknowns. Maybe just playing to see how they do in competitive heroes.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be a very interesting day. We've had the first 6 teams already qualify, kind of the names we know and expected. Obviously Murloc, Geniuses, and Gale Force Esport from that first North American regional last month. And we did have Naventic, Denial Esports in the first qualifier qualify, and then in the second qualifier, Dumpster Tier Rejects and Astro Authority.
Yeah, so that's when things get a little interesting because, like you were saying, all of these big teams have qualified already, so that means there's a lot of open opportunity for other teams to move up in the spot. Usually you pretty much only have to take out one big team and then you've made it. So, if they can pull an upset today, I'm sure that's what they're going to be looking for. Now, another team I want to keep my eye on just throughout the day and see how they're doing is 2ARC, because I feel like they have definitely a good chance of making it as well. They've been putting up a lot of good games lately, and I do feel some confidence that they will hit their stride. So that's a team that I want to keep watching. Now, of course, we just had the EU tournament come to a conclusion, and if you guys haven't watched that, you definitely need to, because there's some.
You have to watch, especially the, I guess, tiebreaker series.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that last game. I mean, that was, I don't know. Like, if you've never watched a lot of Heroes, this is the game to watch, because there is 0 kills in the first 20 minutes of the game, but it was one of the most exciting games I've seen.
Yeah, right. It's kind of funny to have that, like, sounds such like a contradictory statement. It's like, guys, it was the most exciting game ever. There was no kills. But if you really understand what was going on, there's just a lot of back and forth and play around the map control. So in that sense, it definitely was very cool. And so definitely check that out. And of course, just to remind you guys, with the EU meta, it's all about the double warrior over there all the time. And it's something that's a fundamental difference between the way that North America approaches the game and Europe approaches the game. Europe just has to have those tanks, man.
Yeah, most definitely. So we'll be getting underway shortly here. Did you get the lobby and the
I
draft
sure
link?
did. I didn't get the draft link yet, but I am in the lobby.
Let me message you that on Battle.net.
Awesome.
Might be a little bit before we get started, but it looks like our first map is going to be Infernal Shrines. Definitely one of the favorites, I think, of competitive Heroes players. There's a lot of really good options here. A lot of the global presence heroes get a lot of strength out of this, as well as Sylvanas. Look for Sylvanas to be targeted pretty early on in the draft here. A lot of the teams, especially in North America, really like their Sylvanas on this battleground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right among that group, because I think Sylvanas has moved up as one of the best characters in the game when it comes to the Diablo maps, and just how much you actually can enable the objective to push, and just being able to potentially open up the map so much as to get a fort off of the first Punisher just makes it so incredibly valuable. And of course, there's always a lot of interesting decisions being made as to whether you want to give up the Punisher or whether you want to just full-on contest it and race it down, get as many seeds as possible. So it's interesting to see what teams do decision-making wise and shot calling wise on this particular map. And with TNC being on one side of the bracket, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of play and synergy between the Bruisers and Tiger JK, of course, as the support. So we'll have to see if we get some good Uther comps. Rhaegar, of course, a very highly prioritized support on this map as well because he's able to throw the lightning shield on the bruiser and get all of those extra seeds through that. So how are you doing, man? How's life been?
I'm good. It's been really busy because of this kind of condensed qualifier here.
Yeah, it has been a busy week.
Situation, but it's been really great to be a part of this and see everyone through to qualifying, especially that last series we casted Thursday night against Vox and Hilly and Astro Authority. It was really awesome, and I feel like this is kind of the moment for Vox. If they can bounce back from that series and qualify today, that'll be really good for them. I know if you follow Daihu on Twitter, if you saw right after that series, he
took it so hard,
crushed, man. I haven't seen a player that crushed in a while, I feel like, but you either rise from that or let it kind of kill you.
It's basically the plot of the Dark Knight Rises here for Daihu. Yeah, he has to make the leap of faith, leave all of his fear behind, and transcend into the Mega Daihu that we want to have win the tournament. So, yeah, no, that's interesting that you bring that up because I feel like a lot of players, in the scene don't get enough attention in terms of the struggles that they go through and just how much work a lot of these guys put in to get to the regional events and just like how hard and crushing the loss can be if you don't make it. Because sometimes you have to wait a very long time. And of course, today is the third and final qualifier to get to the final qualifier for BlizzCon.
And speaking of that, you might want to refresh your Heroes Draft link because the draft did start. It's
it was just doing the countdown for me.
I know.
It snuck it in there. All right, I'm going to switch over to the draft screen, guys. Sorry. It just kind of ninja started, I guess, while it was still counting down on my screen. But we're refreshed. We're good to go. It looks like TNC was the first pick here on Infernal Shrines map. That means just purple were the ones picking Infernal Shrines, which I actually would expect TNC to be the ones to pick this map, as I feel like they're just more confident with that bruiser support synergy. Anyways, TNC...
insta pick of Kerrigan. Oh my gosh.
Mine is just not updated. I just have to keep... Sorry, guys. It looks like here, I'll let you start talking about the draft here while I try to get it to display on the screen correctly.
Yeah, looks like Heroes Draft's a little bit buggy. The teams are still going for it. It does look like Zagara banned by Just Purple and Kerrigan as well picked up by TNC for their first pick. But this leads Just Purple to pick up their specialist, and they're prioritizing Zul here. Zul, we don't see a whole lot on this battleground, but definitely is someone who can push out a lane very strongly. And even with the W, he has like a good wave clear for the minions on the shrines, I feel like.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. It's interesting to see the melees just getting picked up so quickly here and just like prioritizing Kerrigan over everything else in the game. Wow, my thing just populated with like 3 more picks. So yeah, this kind of reminds me of the Astral Authority versus what was it, 2 Arc or Vox set, where they were just like snap picking everything throughout the day. But okay, so looking at what we have here, you have Kerrigan on the side of TNC, who's very good at controlling the point, but she's more of a cooldown based bruiser here, and doesn't hold the point as consistently. You have to be a little bit more opportunistic in when you look to turn it on the engages onto the enemy, rather than like Sonya, who can just kind of spin to win on the point and keep sustaining herself and dishing out that damage. Falstad and Sylvanas there being paired from TNC. I cannot believe, DJ Tyrant, that Sylvanas was picked so late in this draft. And you might be saying, I don't think third rotation is that late, but to me, it's extremely late. Sylvanas is first pick every time for me.
Yeah, especially on this battleground. I mean, it's definitely, it feels late, and it's not surprising that she didn't make it to the second ban phase here. But speaking of that, TNC banning out the Greymane and Just Purple banning out Tyrael, as TNC does not have that frontline warrior yet in their draft. But Purple going to pick up Li Ming here. I mean, there was a time there that I think it was kind of questionable how good Li Ming was on this battleground, but she's really found her place on Infernal Shrines just because She's able to control those team fights, and yeah, the Arcane Orb doesn't do as good at clearing out the minions for the shrines, but
Well,
you're playing for team fight here.
If I may, DJ Tyrant, I think Li Ming, while still probably not as good of a value pick on this map, has risen so much in popularity because of the fact that, you know, Falstad and Li Ming are considered really the two go-to mages right now, and nobody really wants to touch KT right now, and hasn't had enough time to get experimented with build-wise, especially once they changed the way the W works, and I added Arcane Dynamo at level 16 and all these kind of more wacky changes that people just haven't had enough time to really know if they want to go that route. So Li Ming still just being picked up, I feel like, because she's such a powerful mage, even if she doesn't do quite as well on this map.
Yeah, I definitely agree because of her place in the meta. And Kael'thas would have been the pick here a few months ago or a few weeks ago, however long it was. But yeah, like you were saying, Kael'thas has really just completely fallen off the map as far as priority picks here. And we did see the rest of the draft complete here. TNC rounding out their picks with Uther and Anubarak. I always worry about Anubarak's solo take, so it'll be interesting to see here. But it's a very aggressive lineup. Anubarak dives in, and then you have the False on Kerrigan to really line up kills at that point. We'll have to see how well they're able to control fights and keep Anubarak safe, basically.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Anubarak definitely struggles there in the solo tank spot, but at least they're going to have the interrupts that they need to deal with Mosh Pit cancellation. And I feel like for this game, it's going to really fall on Lunara's positioning, because if she gets jumped on by Anubarak and Kerrigan, she's going to die. There's no doubt about that. So TNC has the tools to make it happen, but they're much more vulnerable with that solo tank Anubarak. They have to make key plays at the right times and get the value very quickly. Otherwise, if they go into more of a sustained fight, I fear the Kerrigan and the Anubarak are going to get shredded and kited by the likes of Zul, Lunara, and Li Ming. So it looks like we're actually going to be loading into the game now. Perfect timing there on that. Lunara, I hope we can see some Leaping Strike play, because if you guys know me, you know I love my Lunara Leaping Strike versus Kerrigan, because being able to just pop the leap every time she goes for the combo, you basically you can dodge all the combos all day. I love that. Anubarak, though, I just want to say, great point contention, especially once you get like Locust Swarm. You're getting so much healing just out of all those shrine minions and stuff. You basically get guaranteed value. Yeah,
and talking about Leaping Strike on Kerrigan, you get to really take advantage of her big weakness, which is her mobility. Once that Q is down, she's stuck in place wherever she is and tries to walk away from a fight, but you go and Leaping Strike her in, and then you have some follow-up here, and picking Kerrigan off might be the way to go for Purple here to try to edge out TNC here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, I feel like basically the way this game is going to go is that on the side of just Purple, they have to make sure that they don't lose the team fight instantly. As long as they survive that immediate value and burst that you're going to get out of a Kerrigan and Anubarak, then you have a pretty good chance of winning the fight. However, if they just get instantly erased, they are going to lose the team fight and then just have to retreat. So I'll let you start with the introductions as I get the team names set here.
Yeah, on our left side in the blue trunks, it is going to be TNC, Justin G on the Anubarak, Howin on Kerrigan, Tiger GK on the Uther, Goku playing Falstad, and Buds on Sylvanas. They're actually going to be pushing this bottom lane up against just Purple. Puppy playing ETC, Legend Doggy on Rhaegar, Rourke playing Zul, Furious Fro on Lunar, and Outputs on Li Ming.
Awesome. And as these guys head to the mid lane, remember that today it's all on the line. This is the final qualifier for these guys to get into PAX. So both teams are going to be playing at their absolute full strength there, and we immediately see the Sylvanas getting value out of the bottom lane. A decent response there from just Purple, maybe a little bit slow to get everyone down there. Wait, the Kerrigan combo comes out, followed by the Burrow Charge. A lot of damage onto Outputs there. Now Puppy turning it around with the dash. Hound and Wind going to be the first to fall. The return kill, but that's a 2-for-1 so far in favor of just Purple.
Yeah, so 2-for-1 really early on here. I like the idea of Justin G just zoning out as the rotation was coming down, but they did get punished for it and basically lose the XP game early on here. Not a huge terrible thing, but is something to a little frustrating, I guess, when you wanted to get an XP advantage at the start.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, too, they had Lunara up at top, setting up the entire time, so she got to establish a little bit of dominance there in that top lane against the Falstad, who's being played by Goku. Now, Goku, probably one of the best solo lane players in the game. But this guy, I know from being on a team with him and practicing with him, he really practices his matchups constantly, and he knows most all of the 1v1 matchups, like the back of his hand, and he can win constantly. You see him already out-trading the Lunara quite well there up at top lane.
I really like what TNC did here. They were getting a little bit out-rotated by Just Purple, so they decided to stick in this bottom lane and continue to get that tower. So that forced the reaction and the rotation here by Just Purple, and now they're a little bit behind on the clearing of waves here as we get our first shrine starting up soon, but working a little forward there.
Yeah, that's always a scary situation when you are playing Zul and you try to just step up a little bit to get a nice spectral scythe swing. But now, I just want to point out before we go into the big team fights, Kerrigan with a Q build. So a little bit non-standard there, as most Kerrigans in North America these days are building around the combos with Psionic Pulse. However, Rourke now having to move forward to dodge the combo, which puts him in a terrible spot, and he's going to get taken out there. Meanwhile, Furious Throw on Lunara put a lot of damage into Goku there from the flank, so Goku needs to be very careful of his positioning in this fight. However, TNC up one man here, definitely using that to their advantage, getting the lead. You see Buds on Sylvanas here continuing to pressure and push out bottom lane while the rest of the team is contesting the point. Now, Legend Doggy dodges the combo there, doesn't get picked off. That would have been huge for TNC, but TNC closing the gap now. They only need 10 more of these Guardians to finish off the Punisher.
Yeah, that was a little scary there for a while. Just Purple was fighting 3v5, but they're actually going to be able to turn around and kill off Kerrigan. But in return, Rhaegar gets taken out here. They're going to continue pressuring and try to see if they can get more. Justin G's a little bit low here. They can potentially cut him up. Oh, that poison damage doing so much to the Nubrak here. Not able to finish him off, but able to force him to Hearth back. Only one more needed for TNC here, and they're going to get this Arcane Punisher pushing down this bottom lane. And because of that early pressure, they're able to get some more damage than they probably would out of this first Punisher. They're going to clear out the wall and the towers really easily and start. Oh, Zul gets taken out. I missed that. Was that in the mid lane here?
Yeah, I believe it was the Kerrigan rotation there. You see his Necromancer corpse there disintegrating in mid. Definitely a nice gank there, but look at this Goku with a very aggressive fly-in, getting the first kill there onto Li Ming, another kill onto ETC, but that's going to be one return kill there onto Goku, who, after he flew in there, maybe needed to just barrel roll out after getting the initial damage.
That's possible, but it was actually to save Tiger JK there in the bottom lane. He was getting focused on. So really great job. I think losing the Faucet instead of the Uther is a good trade there, especially when you get multiple kills for one.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And just want to point out, I think Just Purple is doing a very good job here to start things out, keeping the game this close against a team like TNC. So they're okay. So we have a little pause coming on here, but yeah, I just feel like they're showing that this is a strong start for them. They have a massive challenge here to start the day off in the form of fighting TNC, and I feel like a lot of teams already would have faltered even harder, especially with that Sylvanas push right out the gates. They responded to that very, very effectively, and also were doing pretty good there with the Shrine contention.
Yeah, they really are, and I'm impressed with how they're keeping pace with this. They're not getting too flustered, I guess would be the word there, and we'll have to see just how they try to finish out this game. I'm really excited with this Lunara pick. I mean, obviously it's been a huge contention point for EU. We haven't seen as much in North America, but we've seen so far how much damage that Lunara can put on and how much pressure. Even if it doesn't secure a kill, Lunara allows you to push a lane and be able to push back heroes to Hearth back that you normally wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and honestly still looking at this Kerrigan build. I'm very surprised to see the Q build. Now, I know in Europe they are running the Q build, so maybe that's more of a style choice. And on this map, it does make sense because clean kill still gets you a lot of value as you hop between the Guardians on the point, right? So you still get that value, and that's why Kerrigan was so highly prioritized on this map in the first place. But that level 7 talent, Assimilation Mastery, gives you a little bit more regen while you have the shields up. And I think that could be pretty cool for fighting over the Shrine, because sustain is the name of the game when you're trying to just hold that point and get up to the 40 Guardians.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of the weakness of the Uther pick, is he's not able to sustain multiple targets as well as some of the other supports, but obviously his single target healing is absolutely clutched, and maybe that'll let him focus a bit more on the front line here, which we were talking about in Nubrak being a little bit troublesome, staying healthy.
Yeah, that's right. He's definitely going to be an easy target for them to get a kill on if they can focus him down and get through that dampened magic shield. So now you saw there Goku with the very aggressive fly down to make sure that they could secure the camp on that invade. TNC are definitely playing very much on the same page today. Gotta love that Striker Liming skin, just throwing out the volleyballs left and right.
It is such an awesome skin. We'll have to see now. Both teams just getting camps where they can. Both the bruiser camps in the top side have not been taken yet, so that'll be a point of contention going into the later stages of this game. But level 10 is almost here for TNC. They've gotten that kill lead here, 7-4, and so they're really going to be able to take advantage of that by having their heroics here for the next Shrine phase. And I think Just Purple is going to have to unfortunately just give this one up.
Yeah, more than likely they will choose to just soak. I'd really like to see them put a lot of pressure here on bottom. If they can get some tower kills, that's going to help them get to that so pivotal level 10 spike. And they're not too far off, honestly, off of a couple of tower kills here. They might be able to get it in time to even contest on the point. Puppey taking damage there. The Locust Worm was used. Now Goku with the fly-in going to hit the Gust. They're going to turn it on to Puppey, and then Rourke, of course, is way too caught out now. No chance of him getting out of this alive. Li Ming, though, trying to throw out one more orb to see if she can sneak a pick off. Meanwhile, we've had Hao Nguyen on Kerrigan stay on the point and just continue picking up these Guardians. So I really like the shot calling and rotations there to turn that into a defensive play while continuing to get the objective. Nicely done.
Yeah, TNC are recognizing how Just Purple could get back into this game and really punishing them for extending out so far in that bottom lane, and just showing the power of the Falstad Global. And he's able to just enter fights that he really shouldn't be able to. But we have Puppey rotating in here. Could we see a mosh pit here? No, the Skeleton Mages are going to go down to help them disengage. Look at I love that by how the Q onto the Skeleton Mages, cleaning them up so quickly.
And look how big his shield was there. It's gotten a little bit smaller now, but it's kind of strange to see the Kerrigan shield getting that large this early in the game. Usually until 16. Oh my goodness, no. The follow-up control on the ETC there started with a Punisher leap, and they really prioritized him over the wall there. Nicely done to pick up a kill. So this all of a sudden turns it into a scary situation now if you're Just Purple. But man, that orb shredded Goku there. Now looking maybe for an orb onto Buds, and TNC with a bunch of low health characters are going to be able to walk out of this one. That was such a good kill to immediately pull the trigger when John Cena leaped over the wall there.
Mm-hmm. And the Ancestral just had no chance of connecting there on the ETC. It was just so much damage coming from TNC, and I like this by Buds, using this time to just clear out all the walls that he can, giving it a little bit more of a surface area for team fights that are going to happen in these lanes later on. And they're now just going to continue getting camps while Just Purple going to try to push out this top lane, get something going for them a little bit. They are down in talent tier right now, so they need to try to just soak up to 13. They're a little ways away from that, but I think they can still definitely get back into this game.
Yeah, they certainly can. They still have all of their keeps. They're in pretty good positioning. And of course, remember, with ETC, one good mosh pit can change the game there. That might have been a decent opportunity for them. Now with Goku, he's going to force this fight 100%. Nice timing there with the silence to secure 2 kills, 3 kills. How to win, just jumping, getting the resets on the queue. He's going to town. That's going to be 4 dead. And we were just talking about them potentially coming back into the game right before that massive 4-for-0 trade. That's going to be a keep going down to TNC.
And that's really showing off the power of that clean kill talent at level 4 for Kerrigan. They're going to be able to get this first keep of the game 9.5 minutes into this, and they're going to get a shrine out of this as well. So another Punisher for the taking for TNC. I think a couple members are going to refill their mana and health here, though. So we'll have to see how does Just Purple respond to this. They need to try to contest this. I think a Punisher here would be really scary for them, but it's hard to contest 3 levels down in the talent tier.
You know, I'll be honest, I would have actually probably preferred to see Poison over this game. Just with their team having that slower damage with Lunara, and of course it's harder for Li Ming to actually hit the damage. Hold that thought, because there's a stun coming out on How to Win, but the turnaround is very strong. The 2-man mosh pit getting the targets they needed to get. Uther, however, coming up in time. Kerrigan's going to fall in trade for Lunara there. 1 for 1 so far. That's going to be 2 going down for Just Purple. Puppy in a really bad spot. They're getting finished off by Buds. Rourke getting finished off by Goku. And once again, TNC is just sweeping it up. A 4-man kill there. They did lose Kerrigan this time, however, so at least a little bit of a trade going for Just Purple.
Yeah, a little bit of a trade, but not exactly how you want to trade there.
Yeah, definitely TNC getting the better end of the deal there. That's
getting
for sure.
better end of it for sure. But getting Kerrigan down is definitely nice. At least you know you can take her out. But I think they had to use all their heroics, all their long cooldown heroics at least there, and they just have to try to. They're in the kind of the same position they just were. They're down a talent tier and they're down 3 levels.
I have to say though,
last fight.
Yeah, but for Just Purple, I think that was the time to at least try and force that fight. As soon as they hit 13 there, pre-16, I mean, that was their small window that they had to make something happen. And they kind of did. It looked like it might be a pretty good fight. But then on the back end of the fight, everyone, you had ETC and Zool just being so far into the fight. And then Sylvanas has so much sustained damage. She's just able to clean those targets up in the back line. But a pretty nice mosh coming out there from Puppy. Let's see if they can safely bait it over the wall this time. Last time that didn't go so well. There's instantly How to Win says, nope, we're not going to let you have that. The good follow-up after the gust, the silence onto 3 different members of Just Purple, and TNC are marching this Punisher directly for the core, it looks like.
Wow, they're going to call GG here. This Punisher is going to be able to clear out this bottom keep. Half-Life still on this Punisher, and they're going to... Excuse me.
You're
5v1 here.
Yeah, that was a little bit of kind of an early GG call, but I guess they really just knew that they weren't going to be able to defend the Punisher at that point because they didn't have this mid keep available to bait the Punisher into, right? Because that's usually your saving grace. Even if you make a mistake in the defense and you lose 1 keep, you can still usually get it to jump and focus another keep before it goes straight to your core. So, unfortunately, without them being able to do that, that was going to be the game. And look how much damage Sylvanas put out that game, out-damaging a Li Ming. That is pretty spectacular. Let's see what the build was for Sylvanas that game. It looks pretty much like standard there with Barb Shot at 7, the Dagger cooldown reduction, Windrunner, and, Evasive Fire at 16. Now, that's a little bit of a new one.
Yeah, giving Sylvanas just the ability to either close the gap quickly or be able to retreat quickly, which is something really good for her. I mean, that just adds more to her mobility, even more so than the double Windrunner or double Haunting Wave. I mean, usually
at level 16, we see the Shadow Dagger vulnerability because it pairs so well with that level 4 talent, and that's definitely my preference usually. But I feel like, maybe with Evasive Fire, if you have the double wave to have those extra shots, you can keep that speed boost going so you can chase that much harder. Now, remember that, this talent was picked very late in the game, so it could have just been that at this point in the game, they already felt like they had secured pretty much the win, and Sylvanas is just building to chase harder, not to necessarily win a very close team fight. So that could have influenced the decision a little bit there. But I still just want to say, good job there for Just Purple, that they made a pretty good, strong showing in the early game and certainly did kind of fall off in the mid game. But, you got to give them some credit. When you're facing up against a team like TNC that has so many seasoned veterans and they're very established, even doing that well is definitely an accomplishment. So let's see if they can rally here and maybe take a game off TNC here in the second set, or in the second game rather. Up 1-0 so far in the set is TNC. Mm-hmm. Definitely, they're here to play to win.
You had mentioned Zul taking the Skeletal Mages and maybe could have taken Poison Nova. Do you think also on the Li Ming, maybe Disintegrate would have been a better choice? Because there were a couple of times where they locked someone down, but it took them so long to take down the Kerrigan when they did get that kill. I mean, it seemed like she just had 2 or 3 life bars there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like with the comp that they had on the side of TNC, Just Purple was probably looking to use Wave of Force just to peel, but it didn't seem like it was what they needed. Like you're saying there, a lot of the focus was on the Zul and ETC in the front line, and we saw Hao Nguyen just pulling the combo right away onto those guys and trying to get the kill on frontline targets, not even spending so much time chasing around people in the back. So I do agree with you there. I think Li Ming could have definitely done better with Disintegrate, but I think Poison Nova as well might have been the better option just to do a little bit more to counter that all-in engage. So going on to Game 2, let's see what map we're going to be on.
It's going to be on Dragonshire, and we've had a couple of games, the last qualifier on this map, and they've always been really exciting stuff just going on all over the map. A really great battleground for these teams to face off on, and I really liked the games that we've seen on this just because it really shows off the bruising, the 2v2 fights, the 3v3 fights. I mean, it really just breaks down to that, and it's really fun to see.
I'm not gonna lie, Dragonshire has probably become my favorite map to watch. It's always just a lot of action-packed brawling, like you were talking about, and of course, there's always those clutch moments where the middle activates and one team's trying to cap it, and then at the last second, it's like, are they gonna cap one of the side shrines or are they gonna get the DK? You don't know until the last second there, and always fun to watch that. So, but the one thing is, guys, you got to be a little bit easy on the casters on this map because sometimes there's like 2 equally clutch brawls going on either side of the map, and you're trying to like go back and forth, like which one do we watch? Which one do we watch? So I can only imagine the observers at like major tournaments just having nightmares in their sleep about making sure they don't miss any of the action. You know what's weird, DJ Tyrant? Just a little tangent here. I totally had a streaming dream last night.
Yeah?
That's the first time I've ever had a streaming dream.
That sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever had a streaming dream. That's funny.
I never thought I would see PogChamps and Dan's games in my dreams. It was pretty ridiculous. And like I was waking up in the middle of the night being like, whoa, I'm live right now. And like I need to say hi to the stream. And I'm like, wait, what the heck? You're not live right now. You're sleeping. What are you doing? It was so bizarre. But,
oh, man.
So, guys, type 1 in chat if I'm dreaming. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I think we have the draft link here. Did you get a link yourself?
Yeah, I did.
All right, let's see if these guys have started up just yet. And it looks like, okay, they are starting out. We switched over to Stormcraft now because of the lag on Heroes Draft. So let me switch the overlay over to the draft. And what do we have for the first picks?
We have Just Purple banning out Falstad. The global presence so good on these large maps. Team name change. They're going to ban out the Zul. Maybe that's a comfort pick for Just Purple because we did see them pick that on the last game, and so they're just wanting to move them off their comfort there. And Just Purple follows it up with a first pick, Li Ming. A little bit surprising in this meta. She definitely is strong, but I wouldn't say she's first pick strong right now. But that'll be their first pick. And team name change, they've got Thrall and ETC.
Wait a second. Zagara is still available, and she made it this far? What?
Yep.
So, yeah, Li Ming definitely a good pick when Falstad is banned out, and you've got to highly prioritize her. But when Zagara's on the table on this map, I can't see the justification in picking a mage over such a dominant solo laner. And I feel like Team Name Change is just hoping and praying that Just Purple doesn't pick the Zagara here, because they would love to completely ban out the solo laners. Let's see what goes on here. The ETC already being picked up by Team Name Change this early in the draft means Just Purple can think more about how they want to deal with the Mosh Pit interrupts. They already have Leeming for the Wave of Force. Oh, and it's going to be a Kerrigan Uther this game. So Just Purple deciding that they want to go with the aggressive Kerrigan-style kill rotation comp this game and kind of flip the tables from what happened last game.
Yeah, that'll be really great for their kill
turn
potential
the tables,
here.
maybe not flip the tables just yet. Okay, they're still in the tournament, and no table flipping is going to be happening just yet.
No, not yet. And there we go. Like you thought, Zagara does finally.
But
get
Just
banned
Purple
out.
banned it. What?
Yeah.
That was your no. Phantom Puppy. He's the captain of Just Purple. I want to have a conversation and interview this guy and be like, what was your plan? How do you justify banning Zagara out of your own roster there? Team Name Change already has the Thrall, so it's not like they're going to be picking Zagara. I mean, they still could, but I am absolutely confused.
It's a little bit surprising, definitely. And we do have Rhaegar in Greymane.
That Greymane picture every time.
Yeah.
Who is that?
It looks like I swear it looks like Uther every time I see it.
Well, he looks like I don't know, it's a character from Fable. You remember that game?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For some reason it reminds me of Fable. Huh.
Interesting.
So a very melee heavy comp there for Team Name Change so far. Which I feel like is something that a Kerrigan can definitely punish. She's going to be getting a lot of shields built up from that Maelstrom in these engages. However, is she going to survive the onslaught of crowd control from ETC? Yeah, I feel like D-Shield is going to be fantastically helpful.
So key here for Kerrigan.
If you're Just Purple right now, what tank are you thinking? With Tyrael being banned out now, do you go for the wave clear tank? Or do you think maybe a more aggressive complementary dive buddy like a Nubarak?
Yeah, maybe go the double warrior style here and pick up. Okay, so they are going to pick up Arthas. That wasn't what I was thinking. I was
Arthas
thinking
quite a good soul laner actually as well.
More of a Muradin Sonya, but we are going to see Arthas picked up here. What is going to be their pickup here? Obviously, it should be a second warrior because we've seen solo Arthas have trouble. But it's going to be that Muradin front line.
Holy, that is a very aggressive comp there. Muradin, Arthas, and Kerrigan all charging in frontliners. So a lot of times you see double warrior picked against Kerrigan because it's very difficult for Kerrigan to kind of get past the front line, and being that she is a cooldown based bruiser, it's not always the best choice to use all your cooldowns on tanks, like Muradin, for example. You don't want to be using your Primal Grasp and Impaling Blades there. But Tychus to round out the comp over on Team Name Change, and I feel like that makes sense. The tank shredding here is going to get a lot of value versus those two big beefy frontliners. But yeah, what I was saying there with the comp is Kerrigan, I feel like, will do pretty well against this comp that Team Name Change has drafted because she has the D-Shield to survive the initial crowd control. And honestly, versus a Greymane Thrall, they're going to take a lot of damage from Kerrigan, especially if she lands her abilities.
Yeah, and do you think Cinderosa is going to be the pick here for the Arthas heroic, being able to slow down all these melee heroes and just opening the opportunity for Kerrigan to come clean house?
Yeah, if I was Just Purple right now, I would certainly be wanting to go Cinderosa here. I think it's the right choice. They already have Muradin for a super tanky, beefcake frontliner. They don't really need that from Arthas. I think the CC lockdown would be fantastic, keeping them in place. That's gonna allow Kerrigan to do exactly what I was just talking about, which is get the full combo, get all of that huge damage onto a Greymane or a Thrall. Those characters will get melted by that damage.
I'm just surprised at TNC picking all this melee into a Li Ming here. I mean, if they bunch up Arcane Orb hits 4 people.
Yeah, I like Just Purple's comp a little bit more here.
I really do too. I mean, that if that orb hits 4 people, it just feels bad, man. Like,
Yeah, feels very bad.
jeez.
Yeah, feels amazing, man, for just purple, though.
Yeah, for just purple. But we are loading into game number 2 on Dragonshire. We have TNC up 1-0 over just purple. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and hanging out with us on your Sunday for this final qualifier for the second North American Regional of Fall, which is at PAX.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great set to watch if you want to see what TNC is made of, what they're going to be bringing to the final rounds of the tournament as a big favorite here. So we get to get a lot of insight into maybe how they're feeling today and how they're playing. All right, so on the left-hand side, this game, it is going to be TNC, and it's going to be Justine playing ETC, How to Win on Tychus, Tiger JK playing Rhaegar, Buds playing Greymane, and Goku playing Thrall.
And just purple, we have on the right side, in the red trunks, Puppy playing Murden, Legend Doggy on Uther, Rourke on Arthas, Furious Fro playing Kerrigan, and Outputs on Li Ming.
Yeah, we're just going to stick with calling him... it's Uputs, maybe?
Outputs?
Uputs. Let's call him Uputs.
Oh, 0 putts.
No. That's just too hard to say.
I know.
That's starting to sound like one of the Chinese player names where it's just like, a TNCCCCCC, like crazy names. Okay, so going into this level 1, if this is the scariest moment for a Kerrigan comp, because if you decide to go in and fight the level 1, sure, you can win it, but you have to hit the combo, and instead you see they're just not going to risk the huge snowball effect on that first battle there in mid. So TNC is going to get the initial advantage here in the rotation, and interesting how they have Tychus up at top. A great choice maybe, because they're going to, of course, be putting him against an Arthas up here, and he wins that trade for sure.
Yeah, and just purple is a little bit behind on the rotations here, taking a lot of tower shots out of the towers in the bottom lane. But let's take a look at the builds really quickly here. Kerrigan going with the sharpened blades here. I think we see that more often in North American, but we are seeing a rotation up top. Look at Rourke's in a little bit of trouble here.
Yep, he's going to get chased down. Oh, Justine with the really clutch body blocks there to secure that kill. He's got to be careful, though. Those tower shots getting him pretty low, but very nicely executed there by the ETC. A lot of times people think, it's all about just hitting those stuns, but really it's about the follow-up body block after the stun that, sets the good players aside from the greats.
Just purple looking for a kill of their own, but realizing they're not going to be able to get that in the mid lane. Going to clear this out and then rotate and try to get something going here in the bottom as Goku is taking the bottom shrine here. We'll have to see how they decide to engage on this. A 4v4 in the bottom lane, so probably nothing going to happen. Looks like they're just kind of dancing around. But Justin's going in, and they're going to go on the Li Ming and completely delete her.
Yeah, and honestly, what TNC did there is they saw the key moment to where the team was very split on the side of Just Purple. Furious Fro now completely locked out of his base, throws out a desperation combo there at the end, and she just looks like a dead bug on the ground there once she's been taken out. And now Rourke just continuing to soak up here at top. So yeah, I'm fascinated at the choice there to put Thrall in the rotation and leave Tychus top and how well that's been working out. So Justine going to be picking up this first DK of the game for the side of TNC, who are already establishing a lot of dominance in this game.
Yeah, they're already grabbing the Dragonite here in the mid lane. Those mid towers already have their shots drained, so this dragon is just going to be able to freely clear out this this middle area, only having to contend with the members of Just Purple. And I love this split push here by TNC. They're going to clear out the bottom lane as well, try to get some pressure on this tower, and they do get a reaction here. Rourke in a little bit of trouble in the top lane, is going to get behind the towers there to survive though, but Tychus, like you were saying, just able to bully that lane pretty easily.
Yeah, because if you think about it there, Arthas, has to try and hit the W. It's almost like Thrall trying to hit Feral Spirit against the Zagara in lane. If Arthas can hit the Howling Blast, he can do a lot of damage there. Justine, though, surrounded now, finding himself in a very tough position here after getting taken out of the DK. But the rest of the team now is there for TNC, and they're going to turn it around on to Furious Fro there, who tries to hit a combo, but no stuns come out of that. And once again, TNC comes out on top of a trade.
Yeah, that looked like they could have gotten that kill, but the rotations were just way too quick for TNC. TNC going to take advantage of this and invade onto this camp here and be able to pick it up no problem and continue their lead in the early game.
Yes, and now, like you were saying, I think that was a great point, how draining those towers in the early game by winning the rotation allowed the Dragon Knight to do so much more. And that's something for you guys if you're still learning a lot about HOTS. One thing you can do on this map to really get yourself ahead is to get those towers drained by winning and pushing these waves out as fast as possible. Because once the DK spawns, the biggest threat to the Dragon Knight is all that ammunition from the towers and forts. And if you have that drained, you can just do so much more. So now, this is going to be the bottom fort secured for TNC, just out of nice, clean rotations and playing the map. Now, I feel like if you're just purple here, you want to try and make this fight happen pre-10. And that's going to be your last chance to fight, because soon the shrines are going to activate again, and TNC, if they're level 10 here, they're almost guaranteed to get another Dragon Knight.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to challenge the shrines here once level 10 is hit, the heroics as well. For TNC, they're just cleaning up the map right now. They're getting all the objectives that they can as they wait for our shrines to come online here. And we're going to see them pick up their heroics. We're going to see the Draken Laser from Tychus able to zone out any area that he decides to. And no other no surprises from the other heroics coming out at TNC. And they're gonna, oh my gosh, there's a full 4-man rotation on Rourke. I think he recognizes it though, but the Sundering's gonna come out and I think is going to be eliminated here. Yeah, there goes the life of Arthas. And now they're just gonna full 5-man push this top lane. They recognize that the rest of the team is down bottom lane here and get this fort for free.
This is just great textbook play from TNC, honestly. And Goku, of course, a Thrall player who's never afraid to just pull the trigger and hit those Sunders. I remember winning the really important tournament that we played at the eSports arena off of Goku just pulling the really quick Sunder and getting a pick-off on a Sylvanas. And so he's always good for those pick-off kills. Now, I'm actually pretty surprised to see In the Rhythm as the Tychus level 4 talent there, the quest that increases the duration of minigun over going the bigger they are, which is the normal choice for Tychus, and it does increase damage to targets that are over 40% health, which of course means that, you know, more tank shred, always a good thing. But instead, I feel like maybe because he's in the solo laner just constantly harassing that Arthas, building up the duration, he feels like maybe that'll pay off more in the late game.
Yeah, so now, like you were saying, this dragon is going to be very quickly picked up here. 3-level lead now for TNC, and they're going to rotate to the bottom lane here. Start pressuring the first keep of the game, it looks like, as How is going to walk that dragon up to the wall here. And we'll have to see. This defense is pretty critical for Just Purple. They do hit level 10. They have the heroics available. This is a good opportunity for them, I think, to potentially pick up a kill here.
No Syndragosa, just want to point that out real quick before the fight starts. So instead going for both very tanky ultimates, and hopefully Furious Fro is going to be able to make something happen here on Kerrigan. This is their chance. The Sunder being used a little bit early there. The 3-man Mosh, however, that's going to be Furious Fro's cue to jump in. Hits a pretty nice combo there on Justin, and Rourke is able to stay alive thanks to Army of the Dead there. Nicely done. The drill, however, comes down, and Just Purple needs to get away from this drill. Already eliminating the Arthas there, and now the keep is back in the sights of TNC. Furious Fro now going to jump in. That keep still has a tiny bit of health, and it's still chunking down the members. Goku trying at the last second to turn and finish off the keep as he knew he was going to die there. But that was actually a decent defense there by Just Purple as they were able to save this keep. And having that keep open is really important because once that falls, these giants put so much pressure on the core, especially when they're with catapults.
Yeah, 2-for-1 trade for Just Purple is really good for them, and I do like, in this situation, picking up the Wave of Force here that interrupted the mosh pit from ETC that could have been really, really bad because it did catch 3 members of Just Purple there, and that would have been absolutely a keep had that been able to complete its full duration. I do
Yeah.
like this though that Just Purple, they're recognizing that they need to get something done, but they're okay. They are actually going to back off from that camp there, and Justine just going to move in here and start to work on the Arthas as he's going to get focused on here. So much damage being put on the Arthas. Sunray comes out, isolating Kerrigan as well to the bottom side here, and she hasn't she just gets completely deleted. That was so much damage so quickly, and now they're going to be able to get this keep now. So first keep of the game for them. Divine
Oh,
Shield
no.
used on Muradin, a avatared Muradin. That does not feel good.
Yeah, and off the back end of that fight where I feel like he probably was going to get out of that anyways, not what you want to see there. With an 80-second cooldown now for the Divine Shield, that is going to be a long time where Kerrigan is safe to go in. So, however, all 5 members now of Just Purple.
This is going to be such a quick Dragonite.
Yeah, with that 3-level lead, Just Purple is definitely... It looks like they're starting to, lose their fight, actually, in this game, as they didn't even try to contest either of the shrines, but so many of the waves were pushing in. It's like if they wanted to go top, they would have to ignore the wave and run past to even get up there. So, with this bottom keep now being down, let's see... They're going through bottom. Do they just want to end the game here? I feel like that's a little ambitious at 10 minutes.
It's definitely ambitious, but they're looking to finish this off. They want to go to PAX. They want to get through to the next.
But is that the best way to do it? To risk it all in this very early DK? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But the leader does get dropped down.
Yeah, he's going to jump over to the mid keep there to keep himself alive. They need to keep controlling onto this DK if they want to make something happen. Justin now with a mosh, instantly interrupted with Wave of Force. Nice job by Uputz there. The DK getting very low. They need to finish that DK off. It looks like TNC is going to be able to take this. Yes, they are. Nicely done there. I was being a little bit of a doubter. I'm not going to lie. That looked a little bit scary, but I guess with a 3 to 4 level lead, you can make that happen even at 10 minutes into the game. So, 10-minute Dragonshire game going to TNC, and that's going to be them taking this first set from Just Purple and moving on in the tournament. No big surprise there, honestly. We probably expected, most people were expecting TNC to come out very strong, but we'll see what lies for them in the next round. Now, Goku did a ton of damage that game. That super heavy melee comp seemed to work out extremely well, and most of the time, I feel like Justine was such an MVP in that set. Every time, he would just know exactly when to pull the trigger, get the stun onto Kerrigan to where she couldn't really get her full combo off. And also the moshes were consistently just fantastic throughout the game. Uputz was constantly hitting those interrupts. However, Justin still was getting like those key 3-man moshes for at least a few seconds to get the value out of mosh.
That and the Sunderings were really on point.
Yeah, the Sunderings too.
That one, the right there at near the end in the bottom lane, isolating both Arthas and Kerrigan, giving Kerrigan just no avenue of escape there. But congratulations, TNC, moving on in the tournament. They are 2 best of 3s away from qualifying, so they can feel it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're starting to get really amped up. And also just wanted to also give some love to Tiger, because you know what? Supports always just get ignored. And I know Tiger is probably going to listen to this post-game thing and hear us talking about Justin and everything. It'd be like, everybody forgets about the supports. But yeah, Tiger JK doing a great job of keeping his team sustained up the whole time. Really nice Ancestrals throughout the game. I actually don't recall seeing that many Ancestrals. But people were not dying, so I'm going to assume there were some nice Ancestrals.
Mm-hmm.
And the tidal waves being taken for Rhaegar at 13 there. Just that extra big AoE heal. Man, and we were hoping to see Syndragosa out of Arthas, but it seemed like Just Purple wasn't really able to pick the fights. You know, they were really always being engaged on and not able to dictate the pace of the game the way that Syndragosa Arthas would be able to.
Yeah, it just was really tough, and I'm not sure if and we were kind of thinking Syndragosa might be the choice there to allow that kind of counter engagement, but I don't know. Army of the Dead did a couple times keep the Arthas alive, though, so I don't know. It was just a very, very tough engagement for just Purple, but they definitely put up a fight, and hope to see them in future qualifiers in the near future, in tournaments.
I see
all sorts of stuff.
I see a lot of the Illuminatis in chat anytime TNC is being put out. Is that like a thing? Is just TNC as the Illuminati team? I guess that's a thing.
I'm not really sure.
You know,
it's a
you see
new
something
one.
enough that becomes a trend. So we're just gonna go ahead and say that, you know, that's really TNC's true icon there. I guess. Oh yeah, their icon is the pyramid. So okay, I see where it comes from now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
So looking at our brackets, it looks like it is going to be TNC versus either Miasma Esports or Totally Awesome Team, which looks to be a Canadian team.
Totally.
Recognize the name Peruvian Jedi on that team. That's the only one I recognize.
Good. Well, we know Miasma's good. We've seen them play quite a bit. They're a team that I feel like I feel like they would struggle a little bit against TNC, but potentially if they're bringing it all out today and pulling out all the stops, they can make it happen. That remains to be seen, but I feel like that second game just started there of their set, so I think we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to let that side of the bracket resolve, and then we're going to come back and follow TNC and see. Gosh, that sounds redundant, but we're gonna find out how TNC does against the winner of that set. So stay tuned, guys. Go watch that set, and then come back here. We'll see you guys a little bit later. Hope you're having a good time, because we're definitely having a good time. And take care, guys.